In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I got my client here, an avid cyclist and a world traveler, to go from 16% body fat to 11% body fat in 90 days while traveling and having a hectic schedule. So I want to show you, first of all, my initial assessment with him, and then we're going to go into specific details of what I had to put into his plan to make this process sustainable with how much he is traveling. So if you guys don't know me by now, my name's Adam Bunnell. I'm an online fat loss professional. I work with men around the world, getting them to that next level physique using metabolic priming. So it'll be a full video on metabolic priming on my channel. But the purpose of this video, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while and the information I put out there, this whole channel is designed to help you out and help you on your own fitness journey. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because imagine what I actually give my paid for clients. And this is what I kind of want to show you guys today, the actual step-by-step process that we had to put into place to make this transformation possible. So going to his weight, he started on the 31st and checked in at 175. And on the right, he checked in at 180, right? So yeah, up 5 pounds, right? And so I think there's a big misconception, first of all, in weight loss versus fat loss. Weight loss includes losing muscle tissue, losing body fat, and everything in general. Fat loss includes gaining muscle tissue, improving muscle volume, but also losing body fat. So yes, right here, he is a 5 pound difference, and you wouldn't ever think of it if you were just to see this and, guess, right? And that's because, one, we built a lot of muscle tissue, but we lost a lot of body fat, right? So in my initial assessment with him, his goals were to improve performance with cycling, build muscle in his upper body, sustainability for frequent flying and traveling, wants to have a customized approach to his traveling and training to improve cycling performance, and has been through multiple programs without the results he's looking for. So a lot of our guys that do come to us have been through multiple programs, or maybe even in-person trainers that don't really give the correct guidance on the nutrition portion as well. And as well, you only get, that 1 hour a day that you do go to that personal trainer. And then, when you're not with him, it's just, you're on your own. But we wanted to give him his actual sustainable approach, but also 24/7 actual guidance to ask questions when questions do arise, because often things do arise, right? And the education on what you need to do when certain things do come is important. So my notes for him is we need to give him a macronutrient protocol that's flexible. Teach him how to travel and maintain progress. He knows how to track food, but doesn't know how to have the correct amount or how to change it each week, right? So, and that's something that I see very often as well, is that, a lot of people know how to track calories. They know how to track macronutrients. Well, to be honest, that's the easy part. The easy part is tracking the macros. The hard part is knowing how much to eat protein, carbs, and fats. Because without that knowledge, you're typically just tracking without a goal, right? So, I've used this process with hundreds of clients before, and I use it with this client right here. And it's an actual predictable approach to fat loss that actually uses the scientific metrics and formulas we've created on the back end of the program to give them the correct macronutrients. But with his training, which is super, super important, we need to give him a hybrid program for his training and have a plan for road trips with his training with steps and goals, right? So basically what we did with him was we knew that he'd be traveling pretty frequently. He flies weekly as a private pilot. So the reason why we are excluding this client's identity, because he is a very exclusive private pilot, and so we're going to respect his identity. But for the purpose of this video, I do want to show how we structure somebody like our client here, who is an avid cyclist, first of all, but a world traveler who flies weekly. I think there's a big misconception around a lot of people that, if you travel a lot, you're super busy, that there's not a plan for you. There's always a plan for you. And it's just a correct education on what you need to do and why, right? So kind of getting right into it, here's where he checked in at 8:22. So we did an initial assessment with him and kind of how many calories he was eating in this photo. And we did it for about 4 to 7 days. It's usually the typical time we do our macronutrient assessment to kind of see where he's at, and so we can provide the correct nutrition in place of the calories you're already eating, right? Because when you think about nutrition, calories affect weight, macronutrients affect how you look, and micronutrients affect how you feel. So with our clients, what we actually do is we have them track food and find their calories, but we give them the correct macronutrients and plug it into those calories, right? So on his initial check-in day, we gave him his, starting macros, right? We gave him his new training program, which we're going to go over here in a second, and how we fluctuated the macronutrients within him traveling, him on the road. And, the first week we already, started to give him a little bit of food, right? So we started him off at 2,500 calories, and 9:16, he checked in, and we wanted to give him a little bit more food, right? And so the same thing applies with all of our clients. And What I can kind of describe it metaphorically as is, imagine that, you have a smoldering fire, right? And you start to add a little bit of twigs on it, right? And obviously, as the fire starts to grow, gets bigger, gets hotter, you start to see some flames. And that's kind of the metabolic priming process that we use for our clients, right? We try to, one, sprinkle a little bit of food in and get that metabolism to really fire, and then you get that good cosmetic effect of leaning out, but also building muscle tissue with the new food that you're eating, right? As opposed to like taking a log, which is, 1,000, 2,000 calories of food, where people usually go wrong and just add a bunch of food when they're trying to gain muscle. You just throw it on that smoldering fire and it just kind of displaces, right? But what we do is, like, every week we give him a little bit more food, right? So on 9/12, he checked in, looking really dang good. And we actually gave him 20 grams of protein and 25 grams of carbs, right? So 9/26, same thing applies. 2,800 calories, 20 to 2,900 calories. You can see he's in hotel rooms right here. And he's looking good, and like as he starts to build muscle, he's also checking with us, making sure, one, he's gaining strength, one, his energy's going well, his energy's improving, his mental clarity's improving, because that's all those factors do matter when we check in with our clients. Like, yes, weight is important, right? Obviously, weight is a factor and a metric we like to check, but it's not the most important. It's by far not the most important. The most important is how you look cosmetically, and if your muscle tissue is evolving, if you're getting more energy. And then the fourth is on the scale, yes. And so, a lot of our clients that come to us, the first thing we have to, explain to them is like, listen, like, you want to get to a certain body composition, you want to build muscle. It's not about the weight on the scale. Yes, like we can celebrate a new low weigh-in, with some of our clients, and a lot of our clients that come to us for want to lose 40, 50, 60, 70 pounds. Yes, obviously, yes, we do celebrate that type of stuff when we do lose weight, but we want to maintain muscle tissue, and more importantly, we want to build muscle tissue because muscle tissue is highly metabolic. It gives you higher levels of testosterone. It gives you better hormonal panels. And so we want to make sure that, one, we are increasing muscle tissue, right? So same things applies on the 16th and 16, 2,900 to 3,000, right? So he's starting to kind of lean out. You can kind of see in his side shot where he's getting a little bit more definition in the bottom half of his abdomen. Back is starting to improve with the lower lats starting to pop out a little bit more. And then we check in on the 31st. So we check in every single week, but we do not change macronutrients every single week. And I think some people who watch a lot of my stuff on my channel, they think that that you do need to change your macronutrients every week, but there's a lot of variables that do apply before you do, right? Because you don't want to give food too fast, and you want the body to kind of slowly start to adjust, right? And as it starts to adjust, you start to see these type of changes. So we actually waited 2 weeks for his next food increase, but he actually increased his cycling because as the season goes on, one, he's preparing for longer cyclings. He's going for 40, 50, 60 miles a day. And so that's something that we have to account for too when he does check in. And with our clients, the best thing about it, and I'm gonna show you here in a second, but we can actually monitor how many calories they burn within our app, how many steps, body weight, body composition, and all these other factors that we can kind of check. And so as I'm checking each week, I'm also noting how many actual miles that he is doing with his cycling, right? And I'm doing the calculations on how many calories are burned, and I'm making sure that his weight is staying stable. And if it starts to go down a little bit, then we kind of maybe give a refeed, add a little bit more food, such and such, right? So 10:31, we actually checked in looking really good. So he's starting to see a little bit of abs in the front. Side shots getting even a little bit better. You can even see a little bit of upper obliques. Back's getting tighter. Shoulders are getting tighter. And on the 7th, so the next week, right, checked in, looking even better. So notice the small changes in just 1 week, right? You can start to see his abdomen starting to lean out, and you're starting to see good muscle structure now within the actual ab structure, right? And we actually gave him more food on this day, so we're getting him all the way up front to 3,300 calories. So keep in mind he started at 25, right? So he's already up a significant amount of calories, right? And so what we're trying to do each week when he checks in, I give him 25 grams of carbohydrates, maybe 50 grams of carbohydrates, or maybe I give him fat. The protein really doesn't change too much. You can see on the 31st where I did give him a little bit more fat. So the purpose of why I give him fat is that when you are an avid cyclist or a runner or an athlete, fat really holds your weight very well, right? Because obviously we don't want to lose weight too quickly. We want to maintain muscle tissue. We want to maintain weight, but we also want to lean out. So we're kind of playing the game right there of ups and downs, of giving him a little bit more fat, giving him a little bit more carbohydrates, and it all depends on really how he looks, right? And so within that week, we gave him a little bit more fat, and he actually leaned out, right? And so carbohydrates, first of all, are the body's main fuel source. Like the body wants to burn carbohydrates. But, with fats in general, they will hold your weight a little bit more. And so, we sprinkle in carbohydrates and fats with our client right here to not only hold his weight, but the carbohydrates will help build more muscle. So we don't really gain or raise too much protein levels, for instance, because one, as you raise carbohydrates, also carbohydrates fluctuate actual protein synthesis, right? So, carbohydrates, one, they shuttle protein better into the muscle. So you can eat more carbohydrates, have a staple protein goal, but also utilize more of that protein with more carbohydrates. So next week, checked in. Same thing, looking dang good. We actually won on this day. We starting to kind of see maybe even a little bit of inflammation, and that's something that we do monitor as well. And inflammation can occur, right? And we, may instruct him to give him a couple days off. We also monitor injuries, and any injuries we have to monitor as well. But what we're really looking for each week is making sure that one, his body's progressing correctly, his strength is progressing correctly, his energy's progressing correctly, and each week he's stating that one, he's cycling more and more, his energy's getting better with his cycling, his performance in his cycling is improving, and that factor right there is way more important than his actual weight, right? Because that's his goal is to improve performance, get lean, build muscle, right? Not lose weight, right? And so a lot of people come to us that want to lose weight, and yeah, we have clients that we get down 70, 100 pounds. But at some point, we have to have the conversation that, hey, it's not all about weight loss because we want to build a little bit of muscle. We can celebrate each day that you do low weigh in, and we do. We go crazy. But it's not always the most important thing because it's more body composition, right? Because, if you're watching this right now and I was to tell you, hey, I'll snap my fingers and you'll be the same weight, but you'll be six-pack shredded, would you really care? No, not too much. So it doesn't really matter as much as body composition, but we do, obviously celebrate those new low weigh-ins. So on the 11/28, he actually checked in 2 weeks later. So what you don't see is check-in photos in between these because he checks in every single week. And we don't make much changes on those days in particular. I don't add the photos in there just because I want to show you the particular changes I do to his body and the transition he's going through week by week. But in this one particularly, we really start to see his obliques and his abdomen start to come out in the side. So notice how much more his back's filling out. Notice how much more his lats are filling out, and notice how much more his obliques and side shots filling out, right? Because what we're doing right here is we're building muscle, we're losing body fat, but as you start to build muscle, you start to expand that muscle into the skin and make it look significantly tighter, right? And then, on the 12th, we actually got him all the way up to 3,500 calories, and this is where he checked in, right? And so obviously, he's built a significant amount of muscle. His shoulders have gotten extremely big. He's got a lean, strong, thick back, and his front shot is looking great as well. His arms are getting bigger, right? And so this is the transformation that he kind of went through within those 90 days, right? So we kind of we took his weight and we almost recompositioned his body. We lost a lot of body fat, but more importantly, we built a lot of muscle tissue, which is why you see this body composition difference. So to get into the specifics on what I did for his particular program and for this particular client who travels a lot and his work schedule is very up in the air. We put certain things into place where he had a routine and had a plan when those routines and plans that we currently had weren't working. What do I mean by that is we had two separate plans for him. At home, when he's at home and kind of free, and then on the road when he's flying, right? So this is what a typical day that looks like for him. And what I'm looking for right here in particularly is I want to actually show you what I put into his plan. This is just a screenshot from his actually plans from today. So like obviously he has his chest and shoulder workout, abs, log his weight, 1 to 2 servings of veggies, creatine, check-in day, fish oil, gallon of water, log weight. But we have a travel day cardio regimen, right? Which means we have to get at least 10K steps on that travel day, right? And so it's extremely important too when we are having a plan of attack when we do go on those travel days, to make sure that we are at least getting enough movement in to keep the body stable and to keep the body composition stable with burning a little bit of calories, optimizing a little bit of digestion, and making sure that he's staying lean on those travel days. So we actually have 3 separate macronutrient protocols for him, right? And I want to explain each one in general. So like one, his main macronutrient protocol right here is 220 grams of protein, 450 grams of carb, and 70 grams of fat, right? And so this is just his normal day, right? His normal training days, right? So on the days that he does train at home, this is the net macronutrient protocol he follows. On his off days at home, this is the macronutrient protocol he follows, right? 220 protein, 425 carb, and 70 fat. So the reason why I do this is on the days that you do not train, typically you do not burn as much calories, right? And where does the body want to burn calories from? Carbohydrates, right? So we just lower the carbohydrates ever so slightly, and we can kind of match up those off days calories out into calories in. And then we actually have a travel day macros, right? So we have 220 protein, 375 carb, and 70 fat for a travel day macro. So we drop the carbohydrates just a little bit because when he's traveling, obviously he doesn't, his workouts aren't as intense, they aren't as good, and the food fluctuations with tracking macronutrients we just want to kind of blunt that as well. So when we're tracking macronutrients on the road, we actually give him these macronutrients, but no specific meal plan. But we teach each and every single one of our clients how to actually hit these macronutrients on the road, on vacations, whatever it may be. And the purpose of this is a couple different reasons. One, it's a lot more flexible for a client, because when you think about the psychology of coaching, if you tell a client or you give a client a PDF and say, eat chicken and rice at this time, how sustainable is that really? How well are they going to, stick to that plan? What's the first thing that they're going to think about when you tell them that you cannot have something, right? There's something you can't have. So the approach we actually take is we are hands-on within the first 2 to 4 weeks and extensively teach them how to track macronutrients, right? What macronutrients are in certain food groups. And so they can have the ability to have the freedom to eat what they want, but they get to hit these macros, right? Gives them a lot more flexibility. And the second purpose of it is that understanding macros in general allows them to create sustainability through education. You'll hear clients say, "Oh, I have no idea how much XYZ I was eating. Like I had no idea how much fat was in this meal. I've been eating this for so long." And what you start to realize is that you're giving them the education that's going to create the base for a long-term solution to fat loss, muscle gain, or whatever the body composition goal is that you have. So you're giving them the education on how, because if we were just to give them a meal plan, what happens when they're done working with us, right? So what we do is we teach them how to track macronutrients, teach them about nutrition, teach them how their body utilizes nutrition. And so when they're done working with us, they have that education for life, right? And that's where the sustainability comes from. The sustainability you're looking for comes from flexibility and education, right? Understanding how to be flexible, how to stay comfortable, and the education on how to have a good parameter of health so you don't take back steps. And then going into his actual training, we actually gave him a hybrid, we call it a hybrid program. So we did a at-home split. So we currently right now are doing a back and shoulder, legs total, chest and shoulder, back at rest day on Thursday, and back and arms and chest and shoulders, right? So this is his typical, just, at-home workout program when he's at home and he's not traveling. And what we actually have in the hybrid part of the program is we have a travel day routine, right? Which is going to extent of chest and triceps, back and bis, legs and shoulders, right? So with our client here, there's not a certain time that he travels. This could be like a couple days, could be a couple weeks. We don't know, right? It depends on the job that he's doing. But what we do know is that if we hit every single bicep or every single muscle group correctly throughout the week, we can maintain progress. And that's the game you really play when you're traveling on a 3 to 7 day stint is that you just have to maintain progress, because the maintaining progress will allow you to get right back on track, and you have no progress lost, and you just carry on as such. So in all, like, we had to put a lot of different things into this client's program, but that is the extent that we actually provide for the clients that come to us who, want to get to this next level physique, is that it comes down to the specifics. It comes down to what you need, how much you need, when you need, and a bunch of other different things that are very personalized to each individual that comes to us. This plan right here may not work for you. It probably won't work for a lot of people, but this works for him because it's his life, that we take our process and we plug into his routine. And then we create that routine, we give him the education, and we teach him how to track calories, how to maintain progress, what to do when vacations come, what to do when work trips come, what to do when Thanksgiving, Christmas come. And so, with this being said, like, that's the education where a lot of people get stuck. So if you're watching this right now and you've been stuck for a while, you've been watching my channel, you've been trying, XYZ things that I, give out there, I give those out there for you guys, and I hope you guys do utilize them to make progress. But like I said, the information I give on my YouTube channel is just a tip of the iceberg of what I actually give my paid for clients, right? And you guys think I give you guys all of the sauce on my YouTube channel, you're highly mistaken. Obviously, we have exclusive elite clients all around the world, and we sit down and we actually give them a customized plan unlike they've ever seen before, and that's the reason why you're seeing all the results on our channel. The 40 client case studies and testimonials on my channel currently is because we provide that type and that level of not only sustainability but also execution, right? And what we're doing and the exact specifics on how we're going to do it. And a lot of people think that this can't happen quick. It can. You just need the right plan. So if you're watching this right now and you've been kind of spinning your wheels a little bit, been struggling a little bit, you've been trying here and there, you've been trying stuff on my channel, sign up for a time down below and let's talk. Let's see if it's a good fit for us to work together. We work with exclusive men around the world. We have a community of amazing guys that we talk every day with, over 100 guys in the community right now. And, if you're somebody who's stuck, kind of lost, and wants to get to that next level physique, and you're sick and tired of just being sick and tired of where you're at, now's the time. Sign up down below, and we'll see exactly where you're at, exactly where you want to be, and we'll break down what's stopping you from getting there. And if I'm 1,000% confident that I can help you, I will build you out some higher level strategies, show you what it would look like to partner up, and I will change your life, right? So the link will be down below. Now's the time to take action, and I hope to see you on the call.